Hello, everyone, and welcome to Frankenstein's podcast, where it's all about the monster. We are a creature feature podcast about monsters and why we love them. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Praska, and with me, as always, is
your other host, Khalid Hussein.
What's going on, Khalid?
Oh man, I'm so groovy, dude. I have had
groovy.
I'm so groovy,
so
honestly. I just had like a really great weekend, like filled with activities and stuff, and it was just fun. Like every one of the things that I went to, like turned out more fun than I had anticipated, and so yeah, I'm just riding that high. And like today was like my recovery day, just caught up on some sleep and all that fun stuff, and now I'm ready to talk monsters with you.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, no, I'm glad that you had a nice time. My weekend was filled with sick children and vomit, so I've been enjoying that all weekend. This is a little reprieve for that, so I'm happy for that. But I am, ready to talk monsters as well. Khalid, you know what?
What?
We got a guest. I'm going to bring in our guest. I'm really pumped. Zach Grooten is a resident of Brooklyn who walks dogs for a living, loves movies, comics, books, and music. Zach, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
How's it going, Zach?
It's going pretty well. It's weather's pretty all right here in Brooklyn.
Yeah, how is it over there?
It's just now getting cold, like jacket weather. There there's been spots of it, but it's supposed to snow at like midnight, but not set out. Doubt it'll stick.
I'm in like Minnesota and in St. Paul, and we've got snow on the ground for a while here.
Yeah, I'm glad I have to walk around in it all day, so I don't mind the snow not showing up yet. But
I just looked out my window and there is still no snow in Van Nuys. I figured we were all giving updates.
I mean, it's good to know. Good to know. Yeah. Paints a picture for the listeners, right?
Yeah. Zero snow here.
Zero snow. So you walk dogs for a living, Zach. What is that like?
It's if you like dogs, I love dogs. It's great. It's hell on the knees. It's it's a lot of when I say you make your own schedule, it makes it sound like I choose when I work, but it's more like I have to micromanage, make sure I don't overlap and double book people. So it's a lot of honestly, the hardest part is that it's the clerical side of things, which I do on my own because I work independently. But the dog parts is great. I love dogs and I love being with dogs. So can't complain.
So I've known that you're a dog walker for a while. So I've actually had a couple of questions I always wanted to ask.
Okay.
The first one is, how many steps a day do you get on average with this job?
Here, I'll look right now. It's a lot. I'll tell you.
I figured. Yeah, I'm really curious.
Let's look at today. Is not a good day. I only walked one dog. But let's go with steps, and let's go with. So my biggest day on the last week was Wednesday, and that was 39,000 steps.
Oh wow!
Damn.
Yeah, that's so many steps.
Miles, 18 miles. So about 19 miles on Wednesday. My average for the week was 12.3.
Wow.
Per day.
Huh? Wow.
Yeah.
That is impressive. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. My second question is, I guess you kind of answered it in how you described the job, but like, how do you feel when you see like movie representation of dog walkers? Because every time I see it, it's like somebody with like 15 different dogs, like going like every opposite direction and just overwhelming the walker. Like
people do that. I don't do that. There are dog walkers who do, but I don't walk in that. I don't walk like that. Mostly because my clients don't live close enough for it to make sense. There are there's like one. I have two clients that live in the same building, and I will walk their dogs together.
Okay.
I suppose if I had more clients in that building, I'd probably do the same, just, to save time.
Sure.
But it's not practical otherwise, because it'd mean basically dragging a dog on the subway to
Mm.
get to the next house, and that wouldn't make any sense. So
Okay, wow. Well, thank
yeah,
you for shedding light on
yeah.
this profession that I've just like always been like deeply curious about. So thank you for that.
I do see there is a where one of the dogs I walk nearby in that same neighborhood. There is a guy, or I think he has like people that work for him too, that does that kind of walking. And I think all of his walks are in that same like 3 or 4 blocks.
Mm.
And what's weird is like I've noticed this dogs who walk in packs like that, they don't seem to mind each other, but they all get like really riled when they see other dogs. So I just assume like a sort of like pack mentality from like the evolutionary
Yeah, and
like
if it's like a regular
history
walk.
just kind of emerges once they see other dogs when they're walking in a pack. It's like, oh, they're an outsider, get them. Like
It's cool to
I
just
even
see that like on a
I
micro
even told the
scale.
guy once, I'm like, if my dog I'm walking was one of yours, they probably wouldn't care. He's like, oh, they wouldn't at all. It's bizarre.
Wow. I mean, yeah, that's fascinating. Thank you so much.
Of course,
Absolutely enlightening.
It's been rattling around in my head, so I'm glad that I finally got to like, twist that valve.
most dog walkers I think do it my way. All the
That
ones
seems
I know,
sensible. Yeah.
yeah,
It just feels like, I
it's
mean,
yeah,
I just think about like the actual practicalities of that, of like having to pick up after that many dogs too. And
sure, it's a
Hmm.
pain.
yeah, and it's just, I don't know, especially like I've never been to New York, but I imagine that like the sidewalks aren't like the best for a pack of dogs.
No, not really. Like if I pass a guy walking a pack of dogs when I'm walking a dog, it's hard. Like you got to make sure you have a tight lead, and they're not riled, and it's a pain in the ass. But no, I much prefer one on one, you know, because then it's like I'm actually paying attention to the dog.
Totally. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, you just do a better job that way. Like it just makes
Sure.
sense.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Shall we pivot to monster stuff?
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Zach, being a new guest on our podcast, I have a couple questions for you, just to let our audience know where you're coming from as a monster movie
Of
fan.
course.
So, first off, what is from any corner of pop culture? This could be a book, comic, movie, TV show. What's your favorite monster? And if it's not the same, what would you consider to be the scariest?
Favorite is probably Godzilla.
Hmm.
I love God. I love all the Japanese Godzilla films. And just get a lot of variety there.
Yeah.
Um, from being a from being going from a kind of terrifying avatar of nuclear holocaust to like a superhero.
Mm.
Um,
And a
you get
dad.
you yeah you run the whole gamut from
Yeah.
devastation to father. No, he wouldn't be the scariest though. I don't know if the scariest. I don't know. Is this Pinhead count? Like
Oh yeah, absolutely. Pinhead,
Oh,
I'd
then
say. Yeah.
Pinhead probably this one. I mean, I'm a huge Clive Barker fan, so anything he writes, I'm gonna love. And Pinhead, I think Pinhead's scary because he's not really explicitly evil.
Hmm.
Like he's just doing his job. You open the box, he shows up and tears you apart. Like there's nothing personal. There's no. It's not like Jason where you trespass in some moral or way. It's purely transactional. You called and he shows up and then just destroys you. And I think that's a little more terrifying than. I mean, I love slashers, but don't get me wrong. But I don't find slashers scary. Like I find the idea that a dimensional hell priest will come and tear me apart a lot more
Sure,
frightening.
of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely not a slasher. That's a good answer. Did you check out the new movie yet?
I did. I didn't really like it.
Yeah, I've
Mhm.
heard mixed things on it.
I
Yeah.
wasn't. It's very long.
Oh,
It's like over 2 hours,
oh, that's really long.
which that's too long for.
For
It's
a
too long
Hellraiser.
for. It's too long for. I mean, even the best. My favorite of the whole series is Hellraiser 2,
Hmm.
and I think it's maybe 100 minutes, if that. I mean, I think it might be 90 minutes. Very economical.
It's a
It's long.
premise. I can't imagine you'd have that much to like say on it.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
also the new one has like it feels like 3 ideas in one that each of them probably could have been fleshed out into a solid 80-minute movie, but none of them instead they're each like a kind of half-baked 40-minute movie, just that one
Mm.
after the other. Um, it's also very sexless. I mean, that's to me the biggest crime is a sexless Hellraiser movie doesn't make sense. Like,
I'm always
what is
saying
it?
that.
Right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about like just basic TNA, but like the sexual kind of charge of the the BDSM imagery, and
Yeah, it's a huge
I
part of
mean,
the the
Barker's
originals, yeah.
yeah, I mean all of Barker's work is kind of sexually charged, and removing that from it, I feel like it's kind of loses the spirit, and it just becomes you know grotesqueries without really any of that edge.
Mm.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan.
Okay.
I like it more than like about probably half of the direct to video sequels.
Yeah, a lot of those are not great.
No, but I don't like it. There are some of those I probably still like more.
Mm.
Um, yeah, 1 and 2 are awesome. I kind of
Yeah,
have I like 3 more than I
three's interesting.
would have expected to.
Three
3's fun.
feels like three to me feels like if they made a they took a like a Freddy script and just rewrote it to be about Pinhead. Like I
Yeah,
mean, it's still entertaining, but it definitely feels a lot quite a bit different.
it's very different. It is very entertaining though. Yeah, it's fun. I just watched 5 for the first time, the one that Scott Derrickson directed.
Yeah,
That was kinda interesting to see, just to I'd
it
recently watched
is.
The
I think
Black
it's a
Phone,
bit
and I
too
was wanted to go
long.
back and yeah,
Yeah.
it is too long, but it's interesting to see some, like, his, like, directorial, like,
Oh, sure.
nuances or whatever he's trying to put in there and, like, how that's evolved over the years, but it was an
Yeah.
interesting one, yeah. I didn't hate it.
No, it's not the worst one by far.
Yeah.
It's one of the better direct-to-video ones.
Yeah, for sure. My next question for you is what would you say is on your geek card? What do you like most geeky about?
Um, probably. I mean, probably comics. I read a lot of comics.
Alright.
I spend a lot of money every week on new comics. I have a huge collection of trade paperbacks and old stuff. I especially I love like late '80s, early '90s, like British invasion. Um,
Hmm.
Stuff, which that phrase may mean nothing to most people, but like the with Alan Moore, after Alan Moore's success at DC in the mid '80s, the idea was, oh hey, let's import talent from the UK, and so a lot of writers from 2000 AD, especially were kind of off made got a lot of offers to work with DC and Marvel, and so a lot of them came over. Grant Morrison, of course, the biggest one
Oh, yeah.
after Alan Moore. He's my favorite. Pete Milligan, Alan Grant, who just recently passed away, sadly.
Hmm.
Jamie Delano, who had the great run on Hellblazer, with John Constantine.
Mhm.
That's really my favorite like era of comics right there. You get all those like interesting Vertigo titles. You get a lot of you know a lot of new ideas on superheroes. A lot of it's aged. I wouldn't say aged poorly, but its influence I think was kind of the way the influence people took from it wasn't great. I think even Alan Moore said recently, just in an interview, his a lot of people took the lesson from Watchmen that it's cool when superheroes are edgy,
Mm.
and
Mm.
that's all they got from it. And yeah, that is what a lot of people got from it. But all those first wave of British and UK writers, a lot of Scottish ones too, came over and really did some amazing work. And that's kind of my biggest like. Anytime I get to start talking about that, I talk for hours.
Yeah, no, that's I mean, I feel like that I've picked up on that from like your discourse in the Dissolve before. You've got just like a deep appreciation for comic books
Yeah.
and no, yeah, I mean it's always cool to hear you talk about it also. Joe, you have a third question, right? Or it was just a two?
Is the 2, but I do wanna ask you, Zach, a little bit now that you mentioned it, Khalid, the Dissolve. So that's kinda, I think, how Khalid and you guys connected, and I'm also on the
Yeah.
Dissolve, but not as active. But for
Oh,
listeners
okay.
out there, what is the Dissolve?
Well, I mean, now it's just a Facebook group.
Yeah.
At one point, there was a website. It was like I think it was a subsidiary of Pitchfork.
Oh.
I think I think Pitchfork owned it, and it was started by a bunch of AV Club writers who left to start essentially this uh, film website that was at least owned by Pitchfork. I know that
Mhm.
much. I don't know how. I think they were pretty hands off, but as far as like ownership, it was definitely them. And so a lot of ones who are still big in television and movie criticism: Scott Tobias, Noel Murray, Nathan Rabin, Genevieve Koski, Tasha Robinson. I'm trying to think, there's a few others. All of those still writing, and some of them. I mean, I think Scott is writing for. I want to say Slate now.
Mm.
A lot of all of them. Some of them have gone on to Collider. I think some of them went back to AV Club or are working as freelancers. But it was a great website. It was really. I mean, it continued the same high watermark of that kind of classic era of AV Club writing,
Mm.
Oh
which is
yeah.
where how I found out about them. I had been on the AV Club for years. And then when I noticed all of the writers I liked were leaving, I'm like, well, that's odd. Where are they going? And then someone was like, oh, they started their own website. But the comments section of the Dissolve was it was very small. There was maybe a couple thousand people there and a couple hundred really regulars. So, it was pretty tight knit. And then whenever Pitchfork closed it, a lot of us who had been, kind of become friends in those comments started a Facebook group, just to kind of keep in touch and keep the discussions going. And that's essentially now it's just a general film discussion Facebook group, of course, with a lot of like offshoot groups about other topics like music and shit like that. But yeah, that is the Dissolve.
Yeah, it's a fun group. I like Khalid invited me in a while back, and I've
Yeah,
really enjoyed it.
it's a it's I mean I think I don't know, but you could probably tell me better. I feel like it can be intimidating for people who come in, and it's very like everyone knows everyone, at least all the
Yeah.
regular people. And so like there's like I've noticed this before because I've invited a couple people myself, and they're like, "Is there like 50 inside jokes that I'm not a part of going on?" I'm like, there are 100 inside jokes going on that you're not a part of.
Yeah, no, the Paul Toes inside joke,
Oh God,
the viscosity joke, that one gets me
Jeez.
every time.
Yeah,
I'm 12 though emotionally, so that makes sense.
sure. No, I have a full appreciation for the spectrum of humor, so I can.
No, yeah, and I do just want to take this opportunity to say, like, I really do love the Dissolve, and I get the idea of like it's so like tight knit, at least within the core of it, that it can be like intimidating to outsiders. But if you stick with it, like, I really love how carefully curated and just like efficiently moderated it all is, and that really
So I'm
goes to.
actually, I'm actually, I'm actually a moderator, and I'm actually the oldest, not oldest in age, but like the one who's been moderating the longest at this point.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's like you guys are killing it, and it's the discussions there are always just like fun to like watch along, and like every once in a while I'll have something to add, but in general it really is just like it's a nice relatively calm place for a conversation.
Yeah, I would say the same
yeah,
thing. It's just reading through the comments. It's nice. It's not a sad place to be.
You go to like comment sections of like the AV club or even just like a Twitter thread, and it just feels like the Wild West in terms
yeah,
of like the replies and how immediately off the rails it can get. And then you go to something like the Dissolve, and it's like a 300 comment thread, and it's still on topic, and somehow just about everybody is saying something new.
yeah,
It's great.
yeah. I do. I don't. At this point, my moderating is like I'm probably doing less moderating than anyone else in the mod team. I just because I like to think of myself, and I'm not, but I like to think of myself nowadays as just like the mod emeritus who's like who's
Self-appointed.
essentially just sticking around to kind of maintain a sense of continuity and like, oh, I remember when this happened, or I know who that person is. For the newer mods who don't, have like 7 years of useless Facebook group history in their brains.
Right.
Um, but they do
The old guard.
everyone else is doing a lot more work on that front, and so if anyone gets the credit, it's them.
Well, props to whoever is running it, because it's like a ship, like a naval ship. The way it's run, it feels like at times.
Naval ship. Yeah.
um,
Well, anyway, yeah. Thanks, Zach, for answering those questions.
Of
It's
course.
fascinating stuff. And again, yeah, glad to be part of the Dissolve. It's a lot of fun. Khalid, will you tell us what we're all here to talk about?
Gladly, Joe. Thank you. Today we are going to be talking about the 2022 horror film Nope, written and directed by Jordan Peele. And I've got a little synopsis from our homeboy Google that goes a little something like this. A man and his sister discover something sinister in the skies above their California horse ranch, while the owner of a nearby theme park tries to profit from the mysterious otherworldly phenomenon. Nice and short this week.
What a monster!
They're creatures of the abstract that live off potential energy.
It's alive!
Damn, very succinct there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Zach, since you're the guest, I'll ask you right away. What are some of your initial thoughts on Nope? I'm guessing since you're here, you liked it.
I loved it. I mean, I don't know if I can. Well, it's probably my favorite film so far in the year.
Wow.
I don't know if there's a few others that are very close, but it's the one I've definitely thought the most about since I watched it. I watched it again earlier today, and I still loved it. I probably liked it more the second time. I'm just a big fan of Jordan Peele as a filmmaker so far. Us was my favorite film of the year it came out. Obviously, I loved Get Out. I in general think like each film is shown like, not that any of them like are lacking, but leaps and bounds as a storyteller. Like, like there's an increase in his control of the craft in each one. Nope. I don't know if it's hard to say if I like Nope or Us more, just because I think there's some things about Us I like more. But Nope, I mean, I like I said, I've thought about it for weeks after I saw it the first time. I've had discussions about it even recently before rewatching it, and rewatching it today. I was just gushing about it on Facebook. Everything about it, like the look of it. I watched it on my TV. I think I have a 60-inch TV, if that's the size, 65-inch, one of those two. And, I like most people these days, when I watch things that are set at night, it looks kind of like shit.
Really? Yeah.
I mean, it's just everything, all the night photography that's being done these days is they're not really lighting it. And so, you're getting a lot of these muddy grays because I've said this before. I really blame digital photography on this, not because I'm anti-digital, but because with digital because you're able to shoot in a lot darker conditions without blowing out the image, having to mess with your image too much. I think a lot of people are resorting to that instead of actually lighting for dark conditions. And so you get a lot of just what looks like really gray, messy, like blackness that doesn't look good on a home TV. It really doesn't look good in the theater either. And I was impressed like with how good the nighttime photography looked on my TV when I watched it earlier. I was in awe of it. Like nothing filmed at night looks good on my TV. I have a nice TV, but like, man, like everything about like. I didn't watch this is a featurette that it kind of goes into it, because I guess there's a lot of day for night photography in this.
Yeah. I'd read about that as well.
Not exactly day for night, but like a similar process that where they were able to kind of blend some actual nighttime photography with day for night to give it the kind of unique look it has. But thematically, it's just so rich. I'll get into that. I'm sure we'll get into that later, but like, I every moment I'm thinking about, whoa, it's amazing what he's doing there. And yeah, so I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you on Us as well. Like, or all of Jordan Peele's movies. Like, Us and Nope specifically were movies that like I just couldn't stop thinking about for like a
Yeah.
extended period of time afterwards. Of just like
Yeah.
keep coming back and like, what does this mean? What are they trying to do here? And it's just it's a fun they're fun movies to discuss.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? I think, and I've said this, one of the things that I like about those two more than Get Out is Get Out is a very great film.
Yeah.
Very like very brilliant metaphor um that he came up with, and unique, and doesn't feel like, if it builds on ideas that have been done before but in a unique way. But it's also very direct. Like there's really not a lot of interpretation necessary. Like it tells you what it means and what it is. And I mean, it's strong for that, because I think it needs to, that particular film needs to be that way. Us and Nope really don't hold your hand in that way. They leave a lot of like, I think to a person who wants the more direct storytelling, they seem like either loose ends or dead ends or fluff. But man, I see them so much more as just like, what I find most interesting in that kind of film is they're more like they're mysterious. Like it's clear that they were thought through, but it's also clear that he wants you to do at least half the work, and that to me is rewarding. Like a film where I'm expected to think and expected to kind of put the pieces together, and there's no particular obvious way to put them together. That's the film I'm always going to be most interested in.
I mean, yeah, I feel like that's just proof positive by the fact that like you could still be discussing so many elements of Us, and people are still
Yeah.
discussing elements of Nope in a way that, while like you said, Get Out is great, it's just so narratively like just perfect in a screenwriterly way of like just it really doesn't have that many questions outside of like, did you like this part? Did you like this theme? And I mean, and it feels like a Get Out bashing kind of a thing, but no, like even within that story, you see what Jordan Peele is like able to bring to this arena, and as a creator, it's still a very audacious and bold film. I really feel like because of the resources he had, and because like this was his first time at bat, he played it a little safer than he has since.
Yeah.
So Khalid, I take it you also liked Nope?
And it was sort of the best fucking movie of the year. And there were some really good movies this year, but
Yeah.
There were.
like this is a good year for movies, but
It's a good year for horror movies.
for real.
Absolutely.
I mean,
we've
not
talked about this a
just
few times. Yeah.
movies in general, but horror movie. I think honestly, the only real disappointment to me has been Hellraiser. I really liked. I mean, I loved Barbarian.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, in an amazing year for horror, Nope has still really stood apart for me.
And
sure.
I mean, for me at least, I think it all just comes down to like, in the same way that like people talk about Carpenter films, like they're like, this movie is stacked cast wise. Like everybody's bringing their A game.
Yeah.
The cinematography, you already kind of touched on it, but the nighttime photography is amazing. As a Black person, I'm always just keenly aware of like how you film Black people, and like not since Moonlight have I been like as just like my breath taken away by like seeing Black people at night just shot so beautifully. But all of that to say, like, this is still Jordan Peele's triumph ultimately. Like, it just feels like such a singular vision of like, I can't really like, I feel like there's so many like pre-production days for him where like people are asking him like what his thoughts are on this or that. He's like, I really just have to show you. Like, I can't explain it. You're just gonna have to get it as I'm doing it. And I love it. Like, it's really become an event for me. Jordan Peele releases, in that like, I just in a different way than when people call like Marvel films an event film, even like Avengers films, where like you could argue those are event films because they're culminations. But with Jordan Peele movies, like it really is just like, I get so excited going because I could watch as many trailers as I want, and I know that like he hasn't even begun to show me what is about to come my way. So yeah, with all that said, like this movie slaps. Like the way he uses the location, the tension, the way it gets ratcheted up, and just the way that like you just keep peeling back layers of like rich thematic like conversation in it, and it's your brain just kind of gets dizzy thinking about like one thing to the other if you spend too much time on it. And yeah, like you said, the rewatch is what really sold me on it. I watched it,
Yeah.
and I think for me, the first time watching it where I had no idea where it was going, I got a little bit more impatient than I should have, and should have just trusted where it was going. So like that like second act where it feels like there's a little like bit of repetitive storytelling going on, where it's like something crazy happens at night. Then during the day they talk about that was crazy, we should do something
Yeah.
about it. Then something crazy happens at night. Like that's how I saw it the first time. But like watching it now and knowing where it's going and how deliberately paced it is
Yeah.
it might, like you said, this is your favorite movie of the year. This might be my favorite Peele movie out of the three, and it's a close tie with Us because I
Yeah.
loved Us. But yeah, I'll get into it more. But Joe, I'm really interested to hear. Like, did you like it on rewatch?
Absolutely, I loved it on rewatch. I'm with you. Like, I think that um, with that first watch through, like you're kind of just like along for the ride, and like but the second is it was just you're much more intentionally watching it and seeing like those pieces and how they're laid like
Yeah.
so smartly. I should say before I dig further into it, for those listening, we're gonna spoil this movie as we go into this for sure. And if you haven't watched it, you could watch it on Peacock right now. I think is where I've noticed that. I watched it on Blu-ray myself, so I
Yes.
have my own copy. And I think that's worth it. It's a good lot of good special features on that one. But Peacock is where you want to find it if you're a streamer. Anyway, that being said, I think that the word that keeps coming to mind with this movie is a spectacle, which I think that's been thrown around a lot. People say that, but like the idea that it's like it's both a commentary on like what we do for spectacle or what we do to chase a spectacle, but also like a spectacle in and of itself. Like
Yeah.
it's grandiose and powerful just to look at, but you're also like thinking about like, oh, like you're questioning like your own like motives as a viewer. Like, I'm watching this, and then there's the whole like what people put themselves through to like the cinematographer character, like to get that perfect shot or whatever.
Yeah.
So I love it. I'm with you, Khalid. I think that maybe it's just recency bias, but I think that this is my favorite Peele as well. It is really close with Us. I do feel like I'd like to rewatch Us again soon, and have a better comparison. But yeah, those two movies are just chef's kiss. Like, great.
I
Yeah.
think that like he's building up such an amazing like catalog that
Oh
when the
yeah.
inevitable Jordan Peele like festival happens and people get to just go to a theater and watch these like back to back or something, that's going to be so enjoyable.
Oh,
Yeah.
mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
It's
really just so lucky that like we get to see it in real time. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I think all of us are about the same age, so like we weren't there for like the heyday of Carpenter, but we get our Carpenter.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it, Khalid. Yeah, I like that. What'd you guys think about the kind of the Gordy's home subplot where we get to see the Gordy, the chimpanzee massacre, and then kind of that whole subplot with like where it takes Jupe, Stephen Yen's character on, and where he ultimately ends up.
I think it's actually my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. So immediately when in the scene where Jupe kind of shows them the little shrine,
Yeah.
my first thought was actually something kind of different but similar. I don't know if you remember this, but there was a like a celebrity chimp who had been in like Gap commercials and like a couple movies named Travis the Chimp.
Hmm.
And his owner lived in Connecticut, just like a kind of a wealthy woman who, because she owned this chimp, she had a pretty good nest egg from, the acting appearances. But continued to live with this chimp as he got older. And so, eventually he's not the cute little chimp from the Gap commercials. He's a big old chimp. And over time had become kind of, it had health issues and other things. Well, one night while her friend came over and he just snapped and just started attacking her. And the cops had to come shoot him just to stop him. And if you remember this story, you'll remember it because of this. The lady he attacked didn't actually die. Her face was completely ripped off, and she had a face transplant.
I do remember this. Yeah.
Which was the first time that ever happened, as far as I know. And she even did interviews after the fact. But horrifying tragedy. I actually, in a period of my life where I was really into like kind of like looking up, like dark stuff on the internet, I ended up hearing the 9/11 call, which is, I mean, it's been in the news. So it's not like particularly deep dive, but it's horrifying. Like,
Wow.
and that's what it reminded me of. That and I think that I think it's probably, if it wasn't directly on his mind, I'm certain it had to be at least subconsciously on his mind, because it's it ties into the themes of using animals who are really not, who have who look like we can understand them. You look at a chimp and think, oh, he's smiling, oh, he's laughing, oh, he's like us. Like we kind of anthropomorphize them in our minds. But a chimp smiling isn't a smile. It's usually a sign of aggression. And, they're fundamentally alien to us, but we are able to kind of read in emotions to them. And so I really feel like that had to, I know he obviously took it a different direction, but that's, to me, is really profound. The idea that, as this chimp has, as a balloon pops and it immediately snaps it out of its training back into its wild instincts, and then another balloon pops and it snaps it out of it, and this little boy who's as much of who's as much exploited as the chimp is in this situation, to be honest. He's all he's got is this bit of muscle memory that they've taught the chimp, this exploding fist pump. And he reads into that the idea that, oh, I did have a moment, like I, even in all that trauma, I connected with him, and so he grows up to kind of repress it, but also to think that when Jean Jacket comes around, oh, I can control it because
Yeah.
I had that fist bump, and that's it's dark and it's very twisted, but it's also like Ewan plays it so well. Like, you can, every look in his face, there's this just torment, but hiding, burying that pain. It's such a great performance.
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like I have to mention the SNL monologue that he
Oh my
does.
God,
Yeah.
Chris
So
Kattan.
good.
I mean, yeah, like it ties into exactly that. Like, you can hear pain in every false laugh that he tries to push out in that moment, and it's so profound.
Yeah.
The fact that he has to detach like that, the fact that he has to dissociate, like he was actually there. It's not like he needed to like reference the SNL sketch because he wasn't there firsthand. It's because that's the only way he can talk about what is undoubtedly the most traumatic thing he's ever experienced without like breaking down. And you see it in the like Chris Kattan monologue when the reality of it seeps in and he actually thinks about what he experienced and like he stops himself.
I noticed that this time when actually he goes into that monologue, what he actually says is, "Oh, well, did you see the SNL skit? They could do it. They did it is better than I could ever tell it," which is like an insane thing to say. Like, and I thought about that. I'm like, that is crazy. Like, what? Like, but it's perfect thing to say, because like he doesn't want to. Like, as much as he is using it and exploiting it, for rich, tourist, what do they call them? Trauma tourists, or I think it's what the term I heard once. But like, as much as he's using it in that way, he's still like has to have that removed just to even like live with it.
No, absolutely. And I completely agree. Like the fact that he says that with a straight face is so nuts to me. It'd be like if like someone survived like 9/11 and then told everybody like, oh yeah, the last 5 minutes of Remember Me tell it way better than I could. You know what I mean?
I have a funny story. This is a tangent, but I got a funny story about Remember Me.
Okay.
I was recommended Remember Me by a girl I was talking to. And so of course I watched it. And she didn't like spoil it for me. I didn't do any reading. I just like, all right, I'll watch it. And so I watched it, and the opening scene, of course, is like takes place in like I think 1990 or something like that, and it's like it's when the cop comforts the child, and then it says 11 years later, and I was like, that's an odd amount of years to flash forward. Why would they flash forward 11 years? I'm like,
What
is
could have
this a
happened then?
9/11 movie? And then I thought, but that doesn't make any sense. And then like I watched the rest of the movie and I'm like, no, it's not a 9/11 movie. And then the last scene comes like, what the fuck? This wasn't a 9/11 movie. So I guessed it and then talked myself out of being right because I'm like, now why would this be a 9/11? That doesn't make any sense.
Zach, it's okay if you feel foolish. It's the oldest trick in the book. I'm surprised you didn't catch it.
Surprise 9/11.
You never have that happen to you here and there? You're watching something and bam, 9/11. No, yeah, no, thank you for that tangent. That's hilarious.
I liked it.
I still haven't watched the movie. It's just, it got spoiled for me. And like, for me, the idea of it is always going to be funnier than anything I could watch. So I'm just like,
the thing, it's not that bad of a movie, except for that stupid ending.
I do love that it's like it's primed everybody now that like you can't have a movie in 2001 and pretend that like 9/11 isn't going to happen.
Like that's the thing. It could be you could have written that movie with any other tragedy at the end, and it would be like, oh, okay,
yeah.
But the absolute like almost like a punchline of it being 9/11 is too much.
Oh man, what if Stanley Kubrick's 2000: A Space Odyssey was called 2001: A Space Odyssey? I think that would fuck all of us up. We just be like, they wouldn't go to space. We just got attacked.
But isn't it 2001: A Space Odyssey?
It is 2001.
It's 2001. Yeah. Why did I think it was 2000: A Space Odyssey? Well, I'm an idiot. Keep this in, Joe. Keep all of this in.
I'm keeping it in, Khalid.
No, the people need to know. I'm a big old dummy. Okay, but back to the movie. The Gordy stuff is hands down my favorite. I love it, especially more the second time watching it, because it really just gives me such an appreciation for everything Yoon's doing. And I love that this movie, without like going full barbarian with it and just full on like switching who the protagonists are in the movie, it more or less still gives like so much like screen time and like background to Emerald and to Jupe respectively. And for me, it's just like, I love the Jupe plotline so much. The fact that he's essentially like the guy that kicks off the plot. The only reason the creature is there is because this guy wants to like start a show with it. And it's so fascinating. And I love just like this, like that he's like this parable of a character where it's like, you literally like have the lottery ticket of surviving something no one else survived, and you took the absolute wrong lesson from it.
Yeah.
And now you have like brought like just doom and disaster to this other family that is just trying to get by. And it's so fascinating. And the fact that he dies never learning the lesson is it's the best part of it to me. The Jupe and Gordy stuff is amazing, and special shout out to Terry Notary. The mocap acting is so amazing. Like, I've been a fan of his since Attack the Block, but
what a niche to be the ape actor.
Dude, yeah, especially with Andy Serkis out there, like now you're taking the crown.
Sure. Yeah, like he saw like Andy Serkis being like the general mocap. He's like, I'm just gonna focus on apes. I'm just gonna do apes.
He's got.
I mean, like what? Well, he's been Kong. He was a couple of different apes in Planet of the Apes. He was. I don't know if you ever saw that movie, The Square.
Oh yes. He's playing himself though. Yeah,
he plays himself as like an ape. It's very like cheeky. And now there's a couple others though, I think. Yeah, I mean, like, I love that guy. Every time I see his name in the credits, I'm like, all right, well, the ape acting is gonna be good.
When will the Oscars give up the charade of not having a category for best ape performance? It's but no, I want to say I brought him up because just like the first time, I love that opening scene of like we're like mid Gordy attack or post Gordy attack, and he's just like
Yeah.
fuming and huffing, and he's like kind of pacing. And I don't know why, but it just like leaves me so cold when he frustratedly rips off the birthday cap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
that movement, that physicality, something about it where it's like it's almost just like a surgeon that just left like an unsuccessful operation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's just like he doesn't understand the world anymore, kind of a thing. And it's like
Yeah.
so much communicated in just that one like act of frustration. I love it. And yeah,
And what he's so good at, and I think what makes him such a good ape actor, is that he's able to kind of thread that line where you think, oh, where you're able to kind of read humanity into the actions like you would in a
yes,
real ape, but you also still kind of feel that just slight uncanniness that, okay, I'm not actually seeing, that's not actually what's happening here. And in that moment, of course, that's the kind of that's the tension of that whole scene, is that, you know, he's both, avid, he's both friendly mascot for this sitcom, but also wild, dangerous animal.
oh my god, yes, that's perfectly said. And I mean, it's for me, it's crazy to say this is my favorite plot when like the rest of the movie is so fantastic.
Yeah.
I really think it just speaks to how well executed the Gordy storyline really is, and just like really just puts a fine point on what the rest of the movie is trying to say. But Joe, what did
Yeah.
you think about it?
I don't know if I can really add too much to what you guys said. I feel like you hit the nail on the head. Like it was something that I think the first time I watched, I was not 100% certain like what my thoughts were on it. Like I was like, what do I think about this? How much did this add? But like the second time through, I'm like, God, this is like phenomenal. Like you're all saying, like it's probably my favorite part. But it's like we were saying earlier. It's like it's one of those things that just invites more like conversation, more discussion. It doesn't really
Yeah.
spoon feed it to you. I wanted to
I,
kind of point out too that I liked how you guys mentioned that the Gordy's set off by the balloon pop, and it's kind of a fun parallel we see at the end about how like the jean jacket creature is like blown up by the balloon of Juke
yeah.
popping.
Yeah.
That's a
No,
fun.
Oh
I
It's
mean,
fun,
yeah.
and
yeah.
that's
I
the thing
I
is
thought of that.
like we keep talking about how like the one maybe knock around Get Out is that like it might be a little too narratively perfect in how it comes full circle with everything, but like he still like has sharpened that tool even, and like he gives us
Yeah.
full circle moments like the balloon that it started chaos in one and it ended chaos in another storyline. Like that's
Mhm.
all
Uh,
so deliberate and well like executed.
on that same note, I also noticed that in Emerald's little like side hustle speech at the studio, every like skill, all those like weird skills she mentioned, she ends up doing later. Like she sews the tube men,
Yeah.
um,
Oh
and
wow,
and
yeah,
she, of course, she uses the motorcycle to get away.
Yep.
And so that's kind of interesting.
that is
No,
awesome. I
that
didn't notice that. That's great.
it's so subtle, and the way that he just weaves all of that into just character work, like like in the moment, it's not about what skills she has. It's
Yeah, no,
telling us
it
this.
doesn't seem like setup.
Yeah, she's just a shameless self promoter, and that tells us so much about Emerald as a person. And then, oh wait, these are all super really like handy skills. If I don't know, a giant sky monster is attacking.
The one thing, to what Joe said, the first time I didn't dislike the Gordy story at all, but I did feel it did feel kind of like I guess like the Mikey Onagita scene in Fargo, where it feels like kind of a narrative.
Can you tell us
You
a
know,
quick summary of that scene?
it's the scene in Fargo whenever she goes out to eat with her old friend,
Oh yes,
and
yes,
it finds out
yes.
later that he's lying. Everything he said to her was lies.
Yeah.
So like
Hmm.
it felt like that to me in a way at first, where it's like kind of like a tangent. The second time through, I was like, oh shit, this isn't, not only I don't think it's a tangent anymore, it really, like, everything about it feels like very like tightly, like where it's placed in the plot. Everything about it feels very neat, like in a way that where I'm like, oh, any even messiness I might have liked about it before, I don't even see anymore. To me, it's very like the opposite. Like it's very deliberate and very like neatly composed, I guess.
No, absolutely. And I mean, so yeah, I feel like we're all on the same page on the Gordy stuff, but like just like speaking on it in regards to the rest of the movie and what the rest of the movie is talking about, just obviously there's the main theme about the folly of man is always thinking they can control the uncontrollable. More or less that's what he's saying in this, and in it on its face, like that's talking about like animals and like beasts and this thing of like our compulsion. They refer to a couple of things. Like Gordy is like in reference to like animals used in like film and television. That's literally the Haywood's like entire legacy is built around being able to train animals to do these things, and it's our arrogance as people to think that we can do that completely free of any danger, like they're not still powerful creatures. But I this time around, the theme that like really rung out to me in all of these characters is this idea of legacy. I don't know if it's because I just watched the most recent season of Atlanta, which is fantastic. It was the final season, but the recurring theme that in that season is tackling legacy. And within this movie, it's so fascinating how like it literally like drives most of them to like ruin or like just destroys and upends their lives by the end of it.
Yeah.
With Jupe, to a degree, his entire drive with like trying to get shows of this creature is to do something that outshines like what everybody knows him for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he'd love to be known for the Kid Sheriff show, but that's not what people are talking about. You talk about Jupiter, you're talking about the Gordy attack. And if there's anything that could outshine that, it's going to be Jean Jacket. And then with even with somebody like OJ, who is such a like humble and modest like character, he is still concerned with legacy and that like his father built this thing and
Yeah.
he is not ready to give it up, and he will go to lengths that he's not proud of, like selling his horses to Jupe and trying to break the spirit of a sky monster in hopes of getting a picture of it. Like, all so that he can like make sure that everything his father built doesn't just go away in one generation. And
Yeah.
every other character has like a degree of it. Probably Antlers is the clearest one about legacy, and that like he thinks about what his legacy is, and like the I do one for them and one for me in that
Yeah.
conversation. He is a very concerned about like when he captures something, like he's trying to capture a truth. And I didn't love it the first time he died because it felt like very just like, okay, he's just going to do some weird thing so that they have to go and try even harder to get a picture of him or get it on footage. And this time around, it made sense to me when you see this guy and you see what he's about. Yes, like we don't deserve the impossible is exactly what he would say before he dies.
Yeah.
What about you? What did you guys think about all that? Everything I just said.
Everything you just
No,
said.
yeah, I mean, I think you're dead on. There's all these histories that drive all these characters, and these motivations that kind of thinking of the past and the future. I also noticed like Antlers is like we first see him filming a commercial, and then the next time we see him, he's like editing like live seemingly like real life documentary footage of like animals like killing each other.
Mm-hmm.
So like it really speaks to like his like the fact that he is really doing like one for them, like to an extreme. Like it's obvious where his passions lie, and it's something more along the lines of like early Herzog, whereas what he's doing in his day job is filming commercials. That's quite a difference. And so I can see that animates his desire to do something so extreme. And of course, I like that Jupe isn't like, I mean, not Jupe. I like that OJ still is like, even though he's the one who's figures it out, and it seems to be the most level head regarding like exploiting this creature. He's even still driven by both motivations, both altruistic as far as saving his father's business, but also that he wants to get it on Oprah.
Yeah, no, I mean, even at the very end there, like the third act is not a necessity. He says it himself. People are probably going to come and get like footage of this in 1 to 2 days. The only thing that like makes him step the gas on it is like this prideful thing of like, okay, well, this thing like ruined our lives. So if anybody's going to profit off of it, it's us.
Right.
Yeah. Joe, what do you think?
I'm in agreement with you guys. It's great. I think that I thought the same thing too, where I was kind of unsure of his death there at the end there. I was kind of like, it's just kind of dragging the plot along, but it does work in that narrative sense of what the story's trying to say, especially with that character. I did want to point out though that his rendition of Purple People Eater was just was something to behold.
I was laughing my ass off in the theater, and no one around me was. And I'm like, do you guys not know the song? Like, maybe I'm just have an unhealthy obsession with novelty songs, but like, I've been knowing that song my entire life. So hearing him just like
gravelly
grumble it out, yeah,
it's like
the funniest goddamn thing.
It feels like it's almost like a joke on like all those like new movie trailers that take like happy songs and then just like slow it down and make it like ominous. You know, it'd be like if somebody.
Speaking of, how about that like the way he like uses the manipulated sunglasses at night.
Oh yeah, that was fun too. When it was slowed down, yeah.
It sounds amazing, but also it's like a really like the way it works in a very practical sense to like give you a sense of spatial awareness of where the monster is and where and how close it is. Like as the song speeds up means it's further away, and as it starts to slow down, it's coming closer. Such a brilliant like bit of like just like filmmaking. I mean, I don't know what else to call it. Like just the way that like that very like simple cue creates tension. Oh my god.
My favorite is when he finally uses that with the inflatable men. I think that is such a cool, clever like signifier that it really just informs the action in a way that is fun and great to look at.
Yeah.
My question for you guys, favorite performance in the movie, because there were some knockouts. Everybody was so good. I said it earlier, like they're all bad, like just like they brought their A game, but like if you had to
I don't know if it's my favorite. It'd be hard to say my favorite. It would probably, my absolute favorite would probably be Kaluuya. I mean, just because like he's doing so much with so little.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
Playing a very understated performance of a very, who seems like a pretty quiet guy without making him bland. Like he still shows like there's that moment. I don't remember what exactly leads to it, but where he and Emerald just do like really 3 quick high fives, which is clearly something they've been doing their whole lives. The way it happens.
Oh, it's so great. Yeah. I love it. It's a great trailer moment.
Like, yeah, and it comes like it seems, I guess you could say, it doesn't seem in character for him, but of course it does, because he hasn't played OJ as like grumpy or grouchy. He's just played him as reserved. He's a reserved guy.
I have a theory about that, by the way. Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
I think this is like probably his best example of like just like a character note that I am applauding at all times whenever I watch this movie. The fact that he named Kaluuya's character OJ, like it's funny just on its face when they bring it up in the scene at the commercial. Yeah. But when you truly think about it, Kaluuya is about our age, so he's in his 30s, right? So the OJ stuff happened at like age 8 or 9. So that kid spent his developing years named OJ after like the most famous OJ that will ever exist did the thing that made him that famous. And he had to go to like school and stuff. My last name is Hussein, and I had to grow up during the Bush years. Like,
oh God.
I can only imagine what that would do to you. And it's like, I feel like it reads like, I don't know if like Kaluuya said it in an interview or not, but like, I would genuinely not be surprised if he was like, oh yeah, I just thought about what life would be like for a kid named OJ growing up. And I was like, that's my guy. That's how I'm playing him.
But the actor I do want to kind of give props to, because he always gets overlooked, is Angel Pereira. Brandon Pereira,
I think, right?
Brandon Pereira.
Yeah, Brandon
Angel
Pereira.
is the character.
Brandon
Pereira. Yeah. It's a minor character overall. Like he doesn't have like the deep the deep, history that any of the other characters have. He doesn't have. We don't really know much about him other than he's all surface.
Mm-hmm.
But like just his there's just something about he plays that character so perfectly that he's always interesting when he's on screen. You're always drawn to him when he's around. And I mean, I'm going to also give Peele props. One thing I noticed this time around, I probably noticed it the first time, but I thought about it a lot this time, is how like dynamically he stages and films even very simple dialogue scenes. So that they're always interesting to look at, even when they're just quick bits of exposition or basically just kind of moving the plot along. He doesn't film them in a bland way, and that to me is what makes Peele such an interesting filmmaker. Is that he's not all a lot of I think good first filmmakers are really just giving you the spectacle, and they're not bad at the other stuff, but that's not what you come for. But man, I thought just like even watching just the scenes of them talking was interesting this time around. But Perea is always like interesting on screen, and I was just impressed with how like he's able to take what could have been a very thin cardboard character and make him you want to see him around. Like he's got it's kind of like Steve McQueen in The Magnificent Seven. He's being interesting just by being on screen. And I think I like that.
That's a great comparison. I'll be honest. The first time I saw the movie, I thought he was only there to get eaten. I figured like they're gonna have like a small crew and like they needed a couple like red shirts, and I pegged him wrong. He made it. But yeah, no, he was great. He was great. I will agree with you that Kaluuya is my standout performance, and I thought about it watching it this time, and I think I'm ready to say that he is my front runner for our generation's Denzel. In the same way that like Denzel like quickly like broke the pack and became like his generation's Poitier. If you're talking about just like a peak example of like a black actor that is just oozes star power while he just operates in a pocket. That's what I love about him. And like all the movies I see him in, like you can tell he can play big and boisterous, and like at times his characters get to do that, but like I love him so much when he's just like playing at a lower register, and it's all about like the subtle movements and like the way that he like decides his like body is going to like react to things. I am never not fascinated by his choices. I think about what he did in Widows and obviously Get Out, which like really just sold all of us on it. And I'm just like, oh yeah, in the same way that like I'll probably watch anything that Denzel's in, even if I hear it's bad, because I know Denzel's going to be great and I need to figure out what he's doing. Like Book of Eli is my like, I don't love the movie, but I love what Denzel's doing it kind of example. And
the example of that for me for Denzel, it's not a horrible movie, but it's not very good. It's called, I think, Nick of Time or Out of Time.
Out of Time. Yes, that time travel one.
No, the time travel one is a Deja Vu, right?
Oh, you're right. Out of Time is the
I love Deja Vu.
That's like the saucy, spicy, like affair one, right?
It's like a Florida noir kind of. Yeah. It's fine, but he's really good in it.
He is.
Every Denzel movie with Tony Scott, I love.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Deja vu rules.
Yeah, I refuse to comment on his movie with Mark Wahlberg, Two Guns. I refuse to say anything about that movie. But
I've never seen that one.
You don't need to. But I will say before I ask Joe, my honorable mention for best performance has to be Steven Yeun, as I've like for everything I've already said, but also because like I don't know if you guys know this, I'm so fascinated by this. He wasn't the original person cast for Jupe.
Wasn't it
Jesse Plemons?
Yeah.
Which is really? Like, to me, that is like, I don't ever, and not like race casting aside, like race blind casting, whatever, like aside, like I can't think of any role that either of them have played that I could just like, oh yeah, you could switch them out for this. And like, you're just,
I definitely could see Plemons doing a good job in this role. It'd be different. But I do think like there's an additional layer with it being Yoon, because that was a thing. Like young Asian actors kind of in these like cutesy role. I mean, he just had the year of his life. Ki Hai Kwan.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
I mean, it was essentially that, and I can easily imagine this ABC, TGIF sitcom starring this family who adopted these children, and one of them's a little Asian boy, and one of them's a chimp, and one of them's this girl,
And the
and
father's an aerospace engineer.
yeah, and it
I
ends
caught
up
it
being
this time. I was like, what?
yeah, it ends up being like an additional layer of commentary on this kind of the way I mean, I don't know if that's a major theme, but it's the way we exploit things, and that's the way identity is exploited. Like Ki Hai Kwan had no career for 25 years because once he got old enough, to be an adult, no one wanted him in their movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that is honestly, that's a brilliant connection I never made. But in the same way that like they're inappropriately like using Gordy and like animals on set, like yes, like the commodification of like you're cute when you're a kid, but because of your race, like that's it, that's your ceiling. Like
Yeah.
we have no use for you as an adult, and like that like that idea of like disposability and control.
I mean, that would be just as true with any other child. I mean, that's a child actor thing.
Good point.
Regardless of race, but I mean, even more so for non-white people. I mean, they have it much harder.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely,
I think it's obvious.
I mean, yeah, I think about even somebody like Keke Palmer, who also honorable mention. You know what? I have unlimited honorable mentions. Keke Palmer gets one too.
That's what I was going to say, Khalid.
Yeah, okay,
no
sorry.
one's bad at this movie.
Yeah, but I just think about her career and like how like she has always been a star. Like when you think about the stuff that she's like performed in and stuff like that, like she has always had that star power and charisma, and she brings it out whenever she gets the chance. But it's wild for me to think that she's been acting since she's like younger than like a lot of like people that have been child actors and come up to be really popular and famous. And this is the movie that people are kind of saying like made her a star.
I forgot that she was in Akeelah and the Bee. I did not connect that until recently that was the same actress.
No, she's like at this point, like she's got decades in the game, and it shows. Like her SNL performances alone were like noteworthy because they were so good.
She was in that movie that Fred Durst directed. The Long Shots.
Oh wow, I did not know that Fred Durst directed a movie. But Joe,
he has directed several.
Oh, damn.
It's his side gig.
I mean,
and one of them was a family sports movie with Ice Cube and Keke Palmer.
You know what I say to that, Fred? Keep rolling.
He probably knew Ice Cube from the Family Values tour. I mean,
wow,
that's my guess.
Wow, that's probably a good guess. I don't even know that tour, but like I'm already imagining what that lineup is.
Well, it was.
But Joe, speaking of Keke Palmer, you said that was going to be your pick.
That was gonna be my pick. I mean, I just kind of wanted to give her a shout out since we kind of really sung the praises of everyone else at this point. But I feel like everyone's phenomenal, but she definitely like just ran through the gamut of emotions, like where OJ kind of like kept his emotions close to his chest, like she like kind of had them like on her sleeve a little bit more, and it was pretty evident. I think she did a great job with the role, and I think she was funny and she was intense and she did a lot of great stuff. Her dancing scene was really fun.
I love that scene.
I love that so much. I also loved when the power goes off and like one of the horses like runs away, like as the beginning, and she's just like screams out the house like, "Where's he going?"
My favorite scream line from her is "Run, OJ." That was so funny. It's one joke, but it will never not make me laugh. Like you could have done it like 15 more times, and it would have gotten me 15 more times.
I'll also give a shout out to. I mean, he's in very little of the movie, but he's so much that he's all at times so well as Keith David.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes, he's so good.
You need it. What I like is that like, and I mean this is down to the writing as well, but his acting of course sells it. Is that we're not really ever led to believe that he was like a great father, but you still understand why he's missed.
Yes,
like it's clear that they both have kind of regrets as to their how he treated them and how he was as a father, but also like regrets that he's gone.
I mean,
and and it also, you see also in their performances how his relationship with each of them was different. But I mean, his gruffness and his just kind of very directness is so used so perfectly in those two scenes that you really see of him, and it's, of course, he's a legend for a reason.
And to just bring it back to the like, in the same way that like OJ being named OJ and growing up with that name informs like Kaluuya's performance, like you can tell that like he was not like Keith David's character was not as like invested in Emerald. And you can like
Yeah,
already fill in the blanks from that of like, oh yeah, of course a girl like that growing up in this like setting is going to overcompensate and try to learn everything. And that's why she, by the end, has enough skill sets to basically be Indiana Jones, you know?
yeah,
So yeah, like just another just tip of the hat to the writing in that regard.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I want to get into the monster stuff here.
Oh yeah.
I got a whole lot of interesting stuff that I found, mainly from one article. Actually, it's a Sci-Fi Wire article that I'll link in this. But it was an interview with one of the VFX supervisors. The studio was MPC, but they talked about the design process of like creating the jean jacket creature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so they actually started working on the monster design in August of 2020, and they were still making tweaks and decisions up until 3 weeks before the release. Like, so it was this
Oh
whole
wow.
process, and apparently Jordan Peele was very closely involved, which is kind of like depends on the director whether or not they're like really involved in like the creature design of things.
Yeah.
But so the quote from the VFX supervisor, his name is Guillaume Rocheron. I hope I'm not butchering the name. I probably am, so I apologize. But he says it was kind of unique to have this 2-year period of like meticulous like design process. It's not always common, but they wanted to create this creature of the wind and find design codes that would be realistic and plausible, but on the other hand, not your typical creature. And they looked at things, classic flying saucers. Then they were like also
Mm.
looking at the anime Neon Genesis Evangelion as well.
Oh yeah, that
That's
was
a big
really obvious.
influence there. Yeah. And then he says the like realistic inspirations were like things like jellyfish, cuttlefish, and they were like studying nature to think of something that could somehow be like a real animal. And they didn't want it just to be scary for the sake of being scary. So they wanted to feel like
Yeah.
something that could kind of conceivably exist. But what the cool thing I thought that with that is they actually consulted with scientists from California Institute of Technology and NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory to dig into the biology of jellyfish specifically. So they're like a science
Mhm.
advisor on that. And there's a quote. He said, "We learned that the jellyfish is basically the most efficient animal in the ocean. It uses barely any energy to move, to eat. All its body parts and everything is very efficient. It rides water currents and uses very, very little energy to do so. So that inspired us a lot. How do we apply that to a wind creature, and how do you make it efficient?" And coming off of that, they actually, some of the scientists who worked on the project with them actually gave the jean jacket creature an official Latin name.
Oh
What?
nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's Oculonimbus edoquus, which means
Oh.
hidden dark cloud stallion eater.
Very literal. I like
Yeah,
it.
I like that too. I like that too. But I thought that was super fascinating, just like the work that went into like even just conceptualizing the creature.
Yeah.
But actually like creating the design for like what we see on film, they basically were simulating large pieces of cloth to see like how
Yeah.
the skin would like harness the wind as they ride it. So fascinating stuff. I thought that was so interesting to just think about, like as I'm watching this, like what like effort went into making that.
I do think it's interesting, just conceptually how. I mean, I think it's pretty much just kind of taken for granted that this is an alien movie, but really, we're
Yeah.
not ever told that. I mean, there's never any. I mean, this could just as easily be just a really strange cryptid of Earth that this
Right.
is its first time appearing. I think that's so much more interesting than going for a specific. I mean, is it an alien? Very possibly. I mean, there's no reason not to think that,
Hmm.
but it's, they obviously lead you that way in certain ways. Um, but it kind of reminds me of the conversation they have about how they stopped calling them UFOs,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and UFO has a very specific connotation, although it doesn't actually mean what we think it means. It very very clearly connotes aliens like from outer space.
Right. Like
I don't,
technically
I don't
Iron Man would be a UFO in that first
yeah,
movie.
I don't remember what the other what the acronym that they reject is. UAE, I
Yeah,
think maybe, but
UAE.
yeah, but I mean, it's interesting because even they would prefer to think of it as an alien because it's just easier, it's easier to wrap your head around. Oh, this is an alien, than this is something even less comprehensible.
No, absolutely. And I personally, I know in the Gremlins episode, I said I don't love it when like movies do this. So I'm glad that this movie didn't do it. But in my head canon, I'm doing it where I like to think that this creature or like this type of creature has been around for like all of
Yeah,
human history at
Mhm.
least. And it like very kind of neatly explains like what to everybody else seems like a miracle is actually a horrifying
yeah,
way to die. So like
Yeah.
just the idea of like you think about like biblical or just Abrahamic religious characters and how some of them like ascended to heaven or like got raptured or whatever you want to call it.
yeah.
And it's like it's so fascinating to me that like in this universe, like now, like credibly, you could go, oh no, they probably got eaten.
Mhm.
Speaking of that, I do want to bring this up. Antlers is dressed in like a biblical play robe when they're filming,
Yes.
Mm.
and he goes up onto a mountain to film it and is taken up, which is like a weird dark like perversion of like the end of the Moses story in Exodus or
Hmm.
Deuteronomy, where Moses is in the Bible one of the few figures who doesn't have a earthly death the way that say everyone else does. And the official canon version is that he was taken up into heaven without having to suffer an earthly death of his body. And it's so like I saw that. I mean, I grew up in a church environment, so I have all these stories that are never going to leave my brain. So that was an interesting little. I mean, and obviously, I think Peele probably did too, because I mean, the movie opens with a Bible quote.
Yes, yes, it does.
And so I would not be surprised if that was intentional, that he was kind of twisting and perverting the Moses story into this, this visionary who's going up into the mountain to see God, and of course is taken up and eaten.
And that all is ignoring the fact that when Jean Jacket's in its full form, a lot of people say it's like a biblically accurate
Oh
angel,
yeah,
Mm.
like that,
yeah,
like that also might have been what people thought were angels back then if they like fully
I,
like unraveled.
Wow.
yeah. I mean, like Joe mentioned that they looked at NGE for inspiration, and of course the big creatures in Neon Genesis Evangelion are angels. That's what they
Yep.
call them.
Angels. Yeah. Yeah.
Ah,
It's a great show, Khalid. I think we should do that one on
Oh,
the podcast sometime.
never seen it.
so
I'm down.
good.
It's really good.
It's in an obsession though. Once you get into it, it's like
Yeah. But it's
Twin Peaks. It's like you're not just you just watch it like, oh, that was fun. It consumes your life.
yeah, but it's not super long. Like I think you can get
No,
through it pretty quick, which is nice. Like some of
it's
those
26
animes are
episodes.
huge, but
Yeah, 26 episodes in a film.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm
Um,
down.
I did want to say, Zach, that you mentioned like this creature could be like a cryptid. There was like some articles that I'd found where people were talking about like stories that people have like called atmospheric beasts in cryptozoology, where people believe that
Yeah,
there are these like creatures that like exist in like high altitude, like certain areas of like the sky that we can't quite find, that are just like living
yeah,
up there. So that could be totally be something that that they drew from.
yeah,
Yeah, it's fascinating. I do think that I don't know which one you guys mentioned it. The thing like, oh, you could just have gotten eaten. The eating sequence when like Jean Jacket's going over the house with like
Yeah.
the screams and you can
Oh
hear it, and then just
God.
the crunch and just like blood falling. That's
How did
easily
we
one of the most
forget to
horrific sequences.
I can't believe I
So
forgot
good
Yeah.
though.
the
Yeah,
Bloodhouse. Like that is
Bloodhouse.
such an amazing shot. Like
Yeah,
just in the canon of horror, like from going on, like from now on, you have to bring it up when you're talking about iconic
Yeah,
horror scenes.
yeah,
That is such a brilliant scene.
yeah.
yeah. I like also the way once it like expands into its like fuller form,
Mhm.
and it has the little kind of eyelash thing that's like almost like a camera shutter. Um,
Mhm.
Yes.
it's like it's so like periodic that like it gives it almost like a it kind of goes back to how we look at chimps, and we think we can read in a certain emotion or a certain personality into their features, and even just that simple like eye. As soon as it has an eye, you're like you feel like you understand it, but you also feel like you understand it even less.
Oh, I do. I agree, because my first reaction this time when I was watching it and you get to finally see its eye is like, I was like, oh, it's angry now. And like,
Yeah,
it's like, it doesn't have like eyebrows. Like I'm literally
no,
projecting onto it, you know, like it
just that flash of the eye of the green like feathers.
yes.
Oh man.
Oh man. Okay, so what about the eating scene before the bloodhouse when it takes out all of the Jupiter,
Oh,
what is
the
it called? Jupiter's
yeah,
Canyon? When it eats
something like
all
that.
of
Yeah,
the attendants there. What do you like that scene like still just like leaves me cold. I'm just like
Mhm.
yeah,
that is so terrifying, getting sucked up that
yeah,
way, and the way they shoot it where it's like so claustrophobic, and then that girl like gets to the end of the line and it's like, "Oh god, what happens now?"
Yeah. And
yeah.
they're in there for a long time too. Like the screams, like it's
They don't just
horrific.
die. They
Yeah.
like
Like
Well, and they're
slowly.
just waiting in line, which is like, I don't know. I'm from LA, so like I just have like a blood feud with lines. Like I will teach my child to hate lines after living here. There's a line for everything. It's nuts. It's because there's so many of us here that like even if just a few people hear about an event, that still means like you're waiting for like 100 people in line. And so like
yeah,
I think about that death scene as like, oh yeah, this is like Disneyland in hell kind of a thing. Like once it's your turn, you're gonna wish it wasn't, but you're gonna wait
yeah,
in line first.
yeah.
Yeah. I got to circle back just real quick, Khalid, and say, speaking of eating
Oh,
things,
gross.
sometimes bears tend to eat things, Khalid.
Okay.
Yeah, you thought I was going to go to the other one, but
I did,
yeah.
yeah.
How in the world are you going to pair this with the four bears test?
Oh God. Uh, you kind of can't you?
I
Like,
don't think so. I'm just waiting
yeah,
for what to come up with.
this is
What is
like
it? What is the four bears test?
okay, thank you for asking. For those of you and Zach who may be listening for the first time, the four bears test is when I ask this dumb question that's basically like a thought experiment where I go, what would happen if you replace the monster we're talking about with four bears? And it's it's essentially my way of asking like how it affects the narrative. You know, does the movie stay the same? Is it different? How is it different? And like
Okay.
sometimes I have to really bend over backwards to figure out the answer to this question in a way that makes me deeply regret just randomly bringing it up in the first episode. um,
What's the what's the worst use of the four bears test that you like? Why did I ask this question?
I routinely forget things I say because I talk so
Oh, okay.
much. So
I think this one might be
Joe,
it. This one has the potential to be it.
this really
I
does
think.
have the potential for
Yeah.
it.
I'm just
You
really
can
intrigued what you're
you
going
can
to say.
ask friend of the pod, Jimmy Tandberg. He's got some thoughts on my four bears test and how the rules routinely change, making it a
Yeah.
faulty test. But that being said, with this, okay, really gonna have to like jump through hoops on it. The obvious issue is that it's always in the sky. You know, it also has powers that like one can control clouds, which is I just want to say like on the side, like that is impressive that Jordan Peele made a cloud scary, something that is like so inoffensive. You literally paint it in babies' rooms to calm them down. So like to turn something like that into like something scary is fascinating. But getting back to my point, it can control clouds and become a cloud and hide like a cloud. And outside of that, it can take all of the electricity in the surrounding area and shut it down. A lot of good things if you're like a monster that's hunting people, because like that leaves a lot of us just like helpless. So bears can't do any of that if you didn't know, guys. At least not any documented bears. So I feel like I can't even bullshit my way through a way to make this work. Like, okay, so let's just say that it's just four bears that for some reason are like attacking and like killing all of the Haywood like horses and stuff like that, and they're being like particularly sneaky. It's still just really hard based on the setting. It's open canyon, you know what I mean? Like
It's a completely different movie too.
you can see you can see Jupe from like a football field away on the other side of that fence. You know what I mean? You're gonna see a bear, let alone 4. So yeah, man, like I feel like I'm letting the fans down by not like having a more like fun answer, but this is just a fail on like practicality levels. It's not even like fun failing.
It's not even fun failing.
Yeah.
There's some fun fails out there, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What say you, Joe? What do you think?
I don't know, Cleese, it's your thing.
You're a monster.
You ask me every
I
time.
mean, you could pivot it to be more, to even be more like down to earth about animal exploitation and go into like bear actors.
That's true.
Damn,
Okay, if
yeah.
we were talking
You
about
could replace
There you
if
instead of replacing
Green Jacket,
Jean Jacket with Four Bears, because Gordy wasn't one chimp. Gordy was, they said, one of the actors who played Gordy.
Yeah.
So you have, I mean, they used to have a sitcom with a bear. It's like, what was it called?
Oh,
It was like,
they actually did?
no, I'm not kidding. Like Gentle Ben.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Never heard of that.
Gentle Ben.
It was so it's like the 70s, man. It was fucking
Yeah.
nuts. They even had a Simpsons joke about it where it's like Gentle Ben hosting like a Ricky Lake type show. And then every episode goes off the rails and Ben starts mauling someone.
So in that way, then yes, this movie does pass the Four Bears test because I think it's fair to say that Gordy is like the second big bad as presented in the movie.
Yeah.
So like in that sense, yes. Okay, so it fails as Jean Jacket for all the aforementioned reasons, but it passes as Gordy because yes, if you try to do all of the stuff you did with Gordy with a bear, you'd probably get like close to the same result.
Yeah.
Although Juke might
bears
die.
also
Juke might die and then the movie doesn't
Yeah.
happen.
Bears also have that kind of like, they kind of look enough like dogs that we're like, oh, they're so cute. Look, he's waving. Oh, he's got a friendly, and you know, then you think, and then it mauls you.
Oh yeah, especially
So,
like
like,
a bear cub. They're so cute, but like still dangerous.
I think just like chimps, we have a tendency as humans to read way more humanity into them than is safe.
Well, thank you, Zach, for saving this Four Bears test, and no thanks to you, Joe.
No, I did nothing on that one. But
this is your thing. That's what you sound like.
It is your thing. But Zach did a good. Yeah, Zach, you're great on that.
Thank you so much, Zach. All right, we saved it, folks.
Yeah. Speaking of things that are cute, though, Khalid,
you gotta go back for that one.
You gotta go back for that one. Would you fight or would you flirt with the Jean Jacket monster? And to explain the segment again.
Okay, fight or flirt. I mean,
it seems obvious.
Yeah, it sounds pretty obvious. It's definitely the one that sounds exactly like what it is. Would I fight or flirt with the monster in question if I was like in jeopardy? I don't know. Like, I guess it really just comes down to the fact that like your biggest strength in like surviving Jean Jacket is not looking at it. You know what I mean?
That's kind of a form of flirting.
Yeah.
I guess, but like, what am I gonna do? Like, blindfold myself and like spit game? That's just confusing. Like that. I personally like. I'm not confident enough in my skills with flirting to do it blindfolded. I need eyes on the target. That's where like the words come from. Is like what I can see and glean. But more than that, like I just don't see anything like long term with Jean Jacket. In that, like. One, it's in the cloud. You know what I mean? So say I do like when it's like heart and I'm like I can be booed up with Jean Jacket. Now you're talking about I have to somehow figure out a way to stay in the sky with it all the time, which is like I don't know, like a propeller plane or something. I got to learn to fly. I got to hire a pilot. That's logistically a nightmare. Second of all, power doesn't work around it. So like you know, like when Jean Jacket's doing its thing, I could like hang out and stuff, but like I don't even get to like look at my phone or anything. And we can't take selfies together. Like that's the whole point of the movie. You can't take a selfie with it. So like, it's just like one too many things that just like tell me like, even if I could successfully flirt with it, I wouldn't be happy in that relationship. So, and given that they've shown like a reasonable way to take it down, like I'm going to take my chance at feeding it a giant balloon.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fight for me.
Fair. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a fight.
Yeah.
All right.
What say you, Joe?
I just don't conceivably see a way that you can flirt.
Because you
You
can't
know,
look at it.
'cause you can't. I mean, like, yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I
How
think you
about,
have to. I mean, I
how,
think you have. Well, I, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I don't know, Khalid.
you don't know. Okay, how about you, Zach?
I'd probably fight. Like you said, I mean, it doesn't. I wouldn't say it would be easy to fight, but it's obviously doable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and also, I think I could just not look up and just kind of coexist.
You
I
take
think
the
I could do
secret
that.
third option.
Just always look
I
down.
don't. I look. I live in New York City, and what happens after you've lived here for like 2 weeks is you don't ever look up again because you already seen what's up there. You already seen the tops. Like there's even like a joke about that in this. Like I think it was in a Spider-Man comic I read one time. It's like nobody looks up here. I can swing around all I want.
That's so funny.
And so I'm already used to not looking up, so I don't need to look up. I can just
I love
it can
that.
keep
Oh.
eating horses and
Yeah, like it's like subway etiquette of like if somebody's like yelling at like just yelling shit or whatever, like the rule is just
oh
like
yeah,
you just don't look at them, just don't like
oh
engage.
yeah. Like when people are losing their mind on like the train, I don't look at them. I continue to read. Like
You face your own jean
if you look at
jacket
them,
every
you look at
every
them.
trip.
If you look at them, you risk the possibility that they were already looking your way, and then now that you've made eye contact,
Now you're a part of
and
it.
now yeah, now, even if they're addressing you, which happens, like I've been addressed in one of these rants before. Even then, you just gotta ignore it.
I'm just imagining like a sketch where it's like jean jacket on a subway and everybody's like, "Oh Lord, here we go."
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, we got we got 2 fights and an I don't know.
Kind of
Yeah.
a coexist, right?
Oh yeah, we got a fight, coexist, and then I don't know.
I mean,
So
that's kind of my preferred method of
Yeah.
flirting is not ever making contact and just kind of harboring a crush silently, and that's how I flirt.
You're just like asking Jean Jacket's friend what their deal is. Like, are they
what's
seeing
that?
anybody? Like,
Don't tell him I'm interested.
you
Deny
have
if
one
they
of
ask.
your friends pass one of Jean Jacket's friends a note. Like,
Yeah, exactly. I'm used to that.
that's amazing. You might have
I
my
love that.
new favorite fighter flirt answer. That was great.
That was really good. You saved 2 segments here, Khalid.
You really,
Way to go, Zach.
no, he saved one segment and, in my opinion, elevated the hell out of the other.
Yep. Yeah.
No, great first time out, Zach. You are crushing it.
Well, thank you.
We're at a pretty long episode so far, so I suppose we should probably wrap it up. We have one final segment that we do that's not related to the movie. It's called
okay.
What the Fandom. And in the What the Fandom segment, we all just go around and share 1 to 2 or maybe 3 things that you are currently into, or whether that be watching, listening to, reading, whatever it may be. May not have anything to do with monsters, may not have anything to do with the movie. So just something that you think that our listeners might enjoy hearing about, or that you're passionate about right now. So we'll let you go last since I kind of sprung it on you. And Khalid, What the Fandom with you?
Well, thank you for asking, Joe. I have 2 musical artist recommendations this week. So my first one is going to be for Alice Phoebe Liu. She's a musical artist that a friend of mine recommended to me, and I'm going to use her words on this. She's like Phoebe Bridgers with range. So take that as you will. But I've been listening to her album Glow, and it is really, really good. And apparently she also has like a follow-up album that, like, if this one's more like in the Phoebe Bridgers like register of like kind of like airy, throaty singing and like just like kind of melancholic, she has another one that's it's a funk album called Live at Funk House, and I'm excited to check out that one. I haven't checked it out yet, but just based off of the album Glow, I'm really into it. So I'm giving everybody else a chance to beat me to hearing that album by recommending it now. But yeah, she is just a good listen. It's fun. And then my other musical recommendation is the French artist Stromae. I feel like his popular track that everybody has heard is Alors on Dance, and it's like that like kind of house boppy song that's like Alors on Dance, dun, dun, dun. Like, I'm doing a terrible job because I am. I'm not a musician like that, but yeah, I've been listening to a lot of his songs too, and they're all just like so fun. And I've been in a real international kick, been watching like Korean TV and stuff like that lately. And it's just really fun to just like hear like a vibey boppy French song where like you don't have to know the lyrics to like still just like feel it when like they're coming in hard and hitting that like bass when it comes in. And yeah, it's just been a really fun weekend driving and listening to his songs. So the two recommendations for me are going to be Stromae and Alice Phoebe Lou. And Joe, what the fandom with you?
Well, thank you for asking, Khalid. This week, I'm gonna go with a show actually. So I've been kind of in a kick of watching the old, like some of the older like 90s early 2000s space opera shows. I talked about one a couple weeks ago on the pod, but one I just started the other day was Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda. And big old kind of content warning, it's a Kevin Sorbo led vehicle, which is a
Oh yeah,
little distracting because
that's what he
given
did
who he
after
is.
Hercules.
Yeah, but the first two seasons at least are an ensemble, so like the rest of the cast is pretty great. It's based on like notes that Gene Roddenberry had left in like the 60s and 70s, and so his wife like Majel Barrett like helped produce and put this together. So it's kind of fun to see just to see like what it was like. There's like kind of a Federation sort of analog if you're a Star Trek fan that and that falls, and then the main character Kevin Sorbo is flung like years into the future and is in like a new kind of era of space travel where like his home base that was called the Commonwealth is no longer a thing, and it's like just kind of a different world he has to adjust to, and has a new crew comes to a new crew. But it's a fun kind of like space opera with the rubber mask aliens, some interesting episodes.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, I love that stuff too. I'm all about it.
Babylon 5.
Babylon 5, yeah, Farscape, they're all great. And this is one that was a bit of a blind spot for me, so I'm finally kind of getting into it. Everyone's told me watch the first two seasons and stop because yeah. So one of the lead writers, Robert Hewitt Wolf, was the showrunner, and he was a writer for Deep Space Nine, and so I think he was writing the scripts or leading the scripts for the first two seasons. And what I've heard is the quote is he was let go because it was too intellectual. So I think that, and then it became just like a Kevin Sorbo trying to be Kirk, but worse after that. And
God.
Yeah, I'm going to watch the first two seasons and see what I think. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to continue, but I'm enjoying it so far. It's a lot of fun. It scratches that itch for like old school space opera. And you can kind of see if you're a fan of like the newer Star Trek, like Discovery, like how season 3 like drew from these old Roddenberry notes as well. Like the idea of like being flung into the future where like the Federation is kind of like fractured. And so like it's kind of cool to see the stepping stone pieces there. So I'm enjoying it. It's on Freevee is where I'm watching it actually. A few ads, but easy to watch. Anyway, that is mine. Zach, what the fandom with you?
Let me think. Well, a lot of what I'm watching or reading isn't particularly in need of boosting, but there's a Japanese comic I've been reading, not very quickly. I'm kind of slow with things, but it's called Blood on the Tracks. It's by Shuzo Oshimi, and it is one of the most harrowing works of art I've ever engaged with. And when I say that, people think, "Oh, is it really like violent or really gory or really like like?" No, none of those things. It is a story about this kid with an overbearing mother, and it's a very like quiet, and well, it has its moments, but it's mostly very quiet, very like restrained, and very like in one panel you will like just feel tense. Like it's one of the best comics I've ever read, and it's still kind of I it's not unknown. And I mean, it's getting published over here, so that's obviously more than most. But I find like when I try to talk about it online, I have a difficult time finding people, even in the pretty, literate groups I run in, who actually know about it. And the ones who know about it haven't read it. So the more people that read it, the better, because then I have more people to talk about it with. That's my selfish reason. I have also trying to think. I'm not watching anything all that particularly deep cut right now. I guess there's I've been reading. I just read. Where did it go? I have to write down everything I read, otherwise I forget it within a week. I just read a comic. Well, no, I already gave a comic. Let me get something else here. Ouch. I'll tell you what. The book series I'm in the middle of, and I have one book left. This is not a deep cut by any means, but it's the Ripley series of novels by Patricia Highsmith. Of course, two of them are famously adapted into films. There was The Talented Mr. Ripley with Matt Damon.
Oh yeah.
And that book has been adapted multiple times. And then Ripley's Game has been adapted a couple times, both under that title and by others. But one thing I like about the novels that is very different from any of the films. Most of the films are pretty good, but I don't think any of them are very good at capturing the tone. Is the main character, Tom Ripley, is a murderer who gets away with it every time. And as your main character, you're watching him commit crimes and murders. And just because of the natural, construction of a narrative and him being the protagonist, the tension of watching him get away with it is, you really do end up thinking, oh man, I hope he doesn't get caught. And then you're thinking like, wait a second. No, he should get caught. Like he just killed him in cold blood. But her writing is so precise. It has such a dark sense of humor. Honestly, I've said it before. I think if anyone were going to adapt a Ripley book again, it should be what's her name? I don't know how to say her name now. The director of Raw. What's her name?
Oh yeah, she did.
Julia Ducournau.
Oh yeah, she did that horror movie too, right?
Yeah,
Attain, right?
I think I think those are the best like tonal matches, especially Titan, because it's it's about it's equally about someone who has killed people, and we're watching them try to get away with it. And I really think that there's a lot of that kind of spirit and energy to her work, and I've met people who've read the books, but more often than not, when it comes up, people are familiar with the films, especially the Matt Damon film.
That's the one I know. That's the one I know.
It's a solid film. I like it. It's absolutely nothing like the novel, and I don't mean in plot wise. I just mean in tone. It's really interesting how something can be very faithful but not very accurate to the spirit. And so, yeah, if you ever get a chance to read any of those novels, I highly recommend them.
Nice.
And I have one to go. There's 5 of them in total.
Oh, nice.
I'm a little embarrassed to say, when you first started saying you were reading a Ripley series, I just immediately assumed you meant like the Sigourney Weaver character, like novelizations of the movie or something.
I have read novelizations, but not of those.
Okay, well, yeah, that was just my humbling little confession there. Well, thank you guys so much for all of your awesome recommendations. This is a good batch of stuff for people to dig into, and I love the variety of it. And thank you, Zach, so much for coming on.
Of course.
Like the discussion was everything I'd hoped it would be, and in a lot of ways, even more. Like it was just really fun, and I'm glad that you were able to find time to talk to us.
Of course.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was so nice getting to chat with you and like meet you virtually, I guess, in that sense. And definitely had a great wealth of knowledge you're able to bring to us about movie making in general. So we'll definitely have to have you on again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
Is there anything that you wanted to like plug before you leave? Any like socials you want people to follow you on or anything like that? No.
I want people to unfollow me.
There you go. There you go.
That might be our first anti-plug. I love it.
I love it.
No, I don't have any. I don't have anything going on. I don't have anything to promote. Not at the moment. So
I
yeah,
think it's fitting with the whole idea of a monster that like doesn't want anyone to look at them. Not that you're a monster, but just like the idea of like not wanting to be seen is like very thematically full
yeah,
circle in a
It
way that
works.
Jordan Peele would appreciate.
yeah.
Well, great. Thank you again. And thank you all for listening to another fantastic episode of Frankenstein's podcast. Like, follow us on socials. If you can, give us reviews wherever. We would love to hear people's thoughts on all of the awesome episodes we've put out. And with that being said, until next time, creep it easy.